Good afternoon, guys, and this is episode 3. This is the 1987 Cannondale ST400. So let's take a close look at her. She's pretty clean, guys. Big fat white tubes. Now, if you remember this bike, I bought it early 2022 used out in San Bernardino somewhere. And it was pretty trashed. It had 700C tires fitted onto 27 and a quarter inch rims. Again, I asked myself, how the hell did he put those on? But he did. So I had a hell of a time trying to take them off, but I finally did. The true tire size is 27 1 and a quarter. So, the correct size for that era of bike. It's a 3x6. So 18-speed bicycle. The only thing really different on it are the brake levers and the saddle. Everything else is period correct and original. Obviously the Lezyne bottle cage, the podium water bottle, and the Look carbon pedals aren't. We put a new chain on. We left the chain rings, the front derailleur, the rear derailleur. It has Shimano 600 components on it. So that's the predecessor to Ultegra. She's a really clean bike. So the question is, why did I buy her? Well, this story is a little different. In early 2022, I came down with COVID, and I was just wrecked. Bored out of my mind. You can't go anywhere, can't do anything. And I saw this bike online, and I told myself, you know what? Maybe if I start working on a bike, I could feel good again. And it was like maybe 4 weeks after COVID, but I still had the lingering effects you get from COVID. Tired all the time. My cough was gone. All the symptoms were gone, but I was just lethargic. And could have had to do with the cancer I had also acquired at the time. But the bicycle and the sanding and the work on it, remember, I left it unpainted for quite some time, for about 2.5 months. And I was just sanding it every now and then. What I did is I rebuilt it first. And I kind of think about it like mocking up a brand new, a race car or a cool car. You mock it up first, get all the parts on you want. Then you strip it down, send it to paint. Well, that's kind of what I did. I stripped it down, mocked it up with how I wanted everything to work properly, and then left it. And I kept telling myself, oh, it's a rat build, it's a rat build. Nah, it just didn't work. This Cannondale's a classic. Fat tubes, beautiful looking bike. And I always wanted a pearlescent white bike. I did have the Cannondale Synops, which was a flat white, but I wanted something that just looked beautiful when the sun hit it. So this is what I came up with. What do I do with this bike? It's a cruiser, man. She's about 25 pounds, so she's a hefty beast. But she just cruises smooth, especially with those 27 and a quarter inch tires, which are equivalent to about a 700 by 28 or 700 by 30, depending on the width of the rim. So very supple ride, really fun bike. I'm really glad I rebuilt it because I get a lot of wonderful remarks on it. And it doesn't say Cannondale anywhere on the bike, but everybody knows. You look at those tubes, especially how fat it looks from behind. Those are some fat tubes. It is a touring model. It's not the SR400. It's the ST400. So that was the touring model. And back in those years, almost all the frames were the same except for the braze-ons. What they had is for the accessories. So a race model obviously won't have braze-ons for a rack, front or rear, but this was definitely a touring bike. And that's how Cannondale started. They started with their touring bags. Then I think they made a buggy, a trailer, and then they started making the bike. And the frame was the same frame. What's cool about Cannondale and its history is the fact that all these originally American-made frames had the builder's initial on the dropout. So that's kind of cool too. So that doesn't make them worth anymore. It just makes you remember back how things used to be. When somebody crafted something by hand, he usually signed it, and that's just the way it goes. Art, bicycles, everything. They're usually signed. Okay, guys, I hope you liked this episode. I think it's a great idea. I'll mention the subscriber's name once I look it up again. I apologize if you're watching, but I did forget your name. I want to say Marianne, but I'm going to double check, guys. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy it. Talk to you all soon.